Hello, welcome back to Doublereno. So today I'm going to do this is actually my first new content since I've moved my sign making stuff over to the Doublereno channel. So what I've got today is a piece of hard maple. I think it's 13 inches wide and about 10 inches tall. And I already did my layout and transferred it on here. And if you want to see how I do that, I have another video, the one how I laid out the dog bone sign. Shows all the steps that I use for laying the things out. We're not really making the heart, but how to get it printed out onto a transfer paper on a big size and get it onto your board. So I have that video if you want to go check that out. I designed the heart in Adobe Illustrator, then I printed it out in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. My board ended up being a little bit smaller than what I thought it was going to be when I made the design. So I got a little closer to the edges right here and here than what I wanted to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in on the inside of this line, then the outside of that line. That'll give me a little bit more space on the outer edges and just move everything in a little bit. So that'll be fine. All the markings and stuff that are left will sand off when I get done anyway. So I'm going to take my profile bit and I'm probably going to go on this board a little bit less than 3/16 of an inch on my profile bit and go around and do all the outlines. And then I'm going to come back in with my 60-degree bit and do my texturing on the inside of all the lines. And I'll put that one at a little over 3/16 of an inch. So it'll probably be about 1/8 of an inch deeper with my profile bit. I'm sorry, with the 60-degree bit. So I'm going to get set up and then we'll start routing this thing out. And once we get it routed out, we'll sand it and start finishing it. Okay, so I got all this routed out now, and I came back with my chisel. I'm going to show that on the next video. I just did it this time, but I guess some of these high points right here where that profile bit and the V-bit didn't completely meet, and I just kind of knocked some of them off with a chisel, and I think I like the way it looks better. So I'm just going to sand it down, get it a little bit smooth, get this excess ink off, and then I'll spray it with some clear, and then I'll come in and spray my black stencil ink inside of the cutout. Okay, I probably got a little bit too much ink on there. I should have put some clear on before I put that ink on this, because it's stuck down in there. So I'm going to switch to a little heavier grit paper. Hit a 40 grit. That stuff right there will take some stuff off of a board. So I got all that off. So I'm just going to come across now. Just a Rust-Oleum clear coat, and that's just to help keep that ink or the stencil ink when I spray it down in here, to make it easy to remove off the top. So I'll cover the top of this just with a nice light coat. This coat really doesn't matter for anything. It's not doing anything other than just keeping the ink off of the top part, the top grain of the wood. So it doesn't have to be perfect or pretty or anything. It's going to get sanded back off when I remove the excess ink from inside the heart. So anyway, I'm going to let this dry. I'm starting to lose light, so I don't know whether I'll get it done today. I may have to finish it tomorrow or the next day. So I'll let this dry. If I still got enough light, then I'll come back and I'll go ahead and spray the ink on it. Well, I am running out of light, but I really want to get this on here. So that's dry enough to spray on. So I'm going to go ahead and get a coat sprayed on it, then I can let it dry overnight, and we can start sanding on it. So this is just the Marsh stencil ink. It's black. It dries really fast. It's kind of a matte finish, but once you put a clear coat on it, it's nice and shiny and everything too. And just a little short burst in there, and always try and hit it from 2 angles to make sure I don't get any spots on the edges that I miss. Like I'll hit it that way, and then I'll come back over here and hit it from that side and get those edges. So pretty simple process here. Go in there, come around the top and hit it from there, and then that'll be good. And I'll let it dry, and if I see any spots that I missed, sometimes it's hard to tell when it's still wet. If I see any spots that I missed, I'll touch that up before nighttime here. And then tomorrow we'll sand all that off, and it'll be ready for a finish. Okay, so I've let this thing dry overnight, and it's plenty dry now. So I'm going to take the way this thing did with that ink on there. So I'm going to start out with the 40 grit sandpaper again on this, on my little Dewalt orbital sander. So I'm going to sand this down, and then we'll blow it out, see what it looks like with the paint taken off the top. Well, lucky me, my camera shut off right after I started sanding this, so basically I just sanded it just like I was showing in the first of the video. So anyway, I sanded it all off. It looks really cool. There's still a little bit of ink on there. There's no point in using that 40 anymore on there, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit this with 120 grit and then a 220 grit off camera, get it all sanded down, finished sanded, and then we'll come back and we'll spray some clear on it and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm not having much luck with my camera today for some reason. I did this last segment and put a coat of clear on this, and it didn't record, so it's dry now by the time I figured it out, so I'll just put a second coat on. So I took this thing, I sanded it down to 220. I kind of sanded and smoothed the edges out a little bit. Came out really good. I'm using this Rust-Oleum just semi-gloss clear coat, so I'll go ahead and just put a second coat on it. And you can see, kind of lost the effect, but you can see all the black is shiny now with this clear coat on there. So this is what I did before. I just kind of hit all the black first to make sure I get that good, and then just like normal, just come across. It's not a dramatic change in this wood. So that's it. So I was real happy with it. It came out nice. Any of the stuff I use in this, I put Amazon links down there. I get a little bit of money if you use one of those links and purchase something off of Amazon. So I appreciate that if you do that. And if you've got any kind of ideas of anything that you'd like to see me make, I'm always appreciative of that. So just leave me comments down below the video. I appreciate you liking and sharing my videos, and I'd like to have you subscribe too. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Bye.